as we progress up the kata ladder, we look for more and more complicated combinations, and actually it's the simple things which are often the ones that we need to really explore. And so there's simple little things that we can do with our straightforward punch, right? Whether it's chokozuki or oizuki, or you want to call it junzuki, whatever you want to do, we do this punch. And a lot of the time people are arguing about whether it's full twist or quarter twist, or whether it should be a vertical hand. And they'll talk about the triangle of the ribs and hitting the solar plexus as a justification for the different angles, and the fact that if your fist is like this, then you're probably not going to get into that small space. Well, all those arguments have got merit. Problem is, we're talking about someone who's upright and therefore on an even keel with you, and so they're likely to be doing other things as well. They're not going to be just stood there waiting to get hit. So, how do we apply our punch? It comes back to all the principles that we like to talk about, but more than that, it's demonstrably that whatever your final form is, that's not where you hit them. You've got to hit them before you get to the final form. So even if he was upright, not doing anything, I'd be surging forwards with a punch that's going to hit him this way up, or this way up, or this way up, and I'll be trying to get to my final form of that way up, because that's my kata, that's the way my kata does it. But he's not going to be like that, is he? We're going to be in the middle of something. So what's the most common attack? The big right hook. He throws that. The first thing I want to do is not get hit, and then I'm throwing this fist forwards. Now that means that my target isn't the solar plexus. It's going into the ribs, just below the pectoralis majoris, and it's firing out, and it's landing about up this way. But if it was a bit closer, it'd be up this way. And as it's hitting, it's then going to the final position. If I was lucky enough, if I just turn you that way so that they can see, to go in on the solar plexus, my hand's likely to be up this way, which means I'm not actually going to get a straight forward into the solar plexus. It's probably cutting into the ribs, and then we've got the impact and twist. So this turn of the hand becomes a tool in itself. It's one of the reasons why the twist punch is banned in boxing, is because of the tearing of flesh it does. So, you know, once we've impacted, we've got the further twist, and that's doing the job by itself. We've also got what happens when we're already in the middle of all this, and I've got no range at all. That's okay, I just slide this hand down and throw my hip forwards. So it's this connection of hip to body that gets me the impact. So we're not saying that the punch is this long-range tool. It's just a tool, and you can use the tool at all kinds of ranges, from tucked in tight. Then you might say, well, that's not your best range. Well, okay, but it's still a usable tool. And what we're trying to help with is this idea that when we get to here, you can't punch anymore, you're just into throwing. Well, not if you're a puncher. If you're a puncher, you're punching, right? So when we look at our kata application, it's got to be that we're doing the kata, whether I'm out here or whether I'm in here, I'm doing the kata. And if the application I'm looking at is the straightforward punch, it's probably going to be done at an angle to the person rather than straight in. And if I'm here and I need to turn my body to put it in over there so that I'm going that way, then that is going to be much better than me trying to get here, where he's ready to defend, ready to attack back, ready to preemptively get me. So we've got all kinds of other factors that build into it. Right, so then the other factor that I want to mention, just before we cut off this, is that with him upright, he's still able to respond. So even if we have closed right down, I'm going to be changing his height so that my chew down punches are to a Jodan target that's been brought down. And I'm not nose to nose, I'm taking angles because that's going to have me better off than they suppose.